Shambudara. Hello, everyone. Hi.
Well, hi, Carl. How are you doing tonight?
I feel like I'm hungover, but I know that I'm not.
It happens. I've never once been hungover because I've never really gotten drunk in my life, and I think that's a good thing.
Well, see, it's not drunkenness. It's just when you play video games for fucking 20 hours in a row, there's something that happens to your brain. You start to enter a lucid state of being, which is the thing that I describe to everyone whenever I have to tell them. It's like, oh, where were you between the hours of 3 and 6? I'm like, listen, I'm not a human being right now. I can't talk to you. It's like when people say, oh no, I am not a person in the morning. I need my coffee. There's some kind of reaction in my mind where when I am doing something and I am doing something that I intend on continuing to do, I sit here,
I know that
I sit in
feeling
there in the chair,
all too
and
well.
it's like you're having an out of body experience. Like you're on autopilot. You just get up and you're doing things and you're
And then
walking
you look
around.
up and you look up and you're like, "Whoa, how long have I been here?" Like you
See,
don't even realize it. It's zone.
yes,
It's
yes.
free zone.
And for me, I'm physically in my mind, but it's like the deepest, rawest part just comes out, and it's like, oh, here comes Carl to fucking over-explain. I'm like, bitch, shut the fuck up and get out of my goddamn way. I'm tired of all of you. All of you piss me the fuck off. You especially, bitch. It's like, you never liked this. Where does attitude come from? First off, bitch, top of the morning, top of the morning. Get the fuck out of my face or you give me top in the morning. I don't want to hear any words coming out of your mouth right now. And when you're playing video games the way that I choose to, in the games that I choose to play, people and their attitudes get old real fucking quick. So, like, one of the things that pisses me the fuck off is when I'm trying to explain something to someone in a video game. Commonly, if people go back and look at the most recent stream over on the other streaming channel, which, by the way, we have a streaming channel now, guys. Well, I have a
Oh,
streaming channel.
yeah, I was gonna say you have
Single
a streaming channel.
single player
You can
Carl
follow
Live.
me on my channel though too. I'll just say.
Yes, but over on mine yesterday, I was trying to play a difficult fucking challenge in a game called Atomic Crops, and then I switched over to League of Legends Ranked, and the gaming session did not go well. But the fun part of this is that because we actually have editors now, two of them, I told them, like, listen, I have just farmed a pure amount of fucking cringe content from the stupidity of the ranked experience that I'm having, because the amount of everything that you get in a unironically horrible environment in video games is all that I get. You get the people who antagonize you when you ask them to do one basic thing, because how dare you ask me to do a simple task that you have explained in 2 sentences. Then you get the people who, when you try to type to them something, they want you to try and explain a giant fucking concept while also at the same time not listening to the basic thing you're telling them. So, like, if I say something to them, they're gonna get fucking antsy and pissed off anyways, because literal fucking children. But then I will try to type, and as people should know at this point, I have dyslexia. So when I try to type things and I'm not closing my eyes and looking at the keyboard because I'm playing a video game and I need to look at my screen, the word's gonna come out fucking wrong and mislurred because I have to speed type, and at the same time I'm trying to pay attention to everything that's happening while also having to tell you to shut the fuck up. And they'll say, why don't you learn how to speak? And you see, the fun thing about games like League of Legends and Riot is that that's a bannable offense. I'm pretty sure like 5 people have lost their account because they just couldn't fucking help themselves. But I had everything from people coming. I
Yeah.
I had everything from people coming to the stream to try and be a bitch. I had somebody come to the stream to say and explain how actually they're not bad. I had enemy players come to the stream and actually sit in the chat, and it's like, bro, what the fuck was wrong with these players in your game? I don't understand how you could be like this. I don't get it. Like, you're right. And that's the fun part about playing a competitive experience. People who don't want to actually be good at the game go to the mode specifically designed for challenge and risk and experience and growth and learning. And they say, you know what? I'm gonna fuck it up. For fun, baby, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I don't listen to anything. I don't know how to do anything at all. And if you ask me to do a single thing, I'm just gonna completely bitch you out. But then when you tell them, okay, so come say this shit in my chat, they're like, doom, 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 doom. People, because now it's like on Twitter, right? Every single second, it's like, oh, I need an insult, but it's like, no, it's too late. It's already going in the compilation. I've already sold them. I don't care.
I will say, Twitter is so much fun to mine some really good reactions if you know where to poke.
That's just the internet in general now.
Well, yeah, just my point is that I often look at what I do as kind of a fucking martial art at times. Like it's like a bit of judo in a way. But I've honestly also gotten fucking sick of it myself. Like I've been trying to turn over a new leaf. I'm trying to get better at it, and just not dealing with that. And honestly, I've come out a better, more all around better person. And thank you, Carl, for being the final person to push me in that direction. Because hell boy, that was a good call.
Yeah, see, the philosophy that I have with this is very simple. Having to contain this kind of behavior to the ranked experience of a mode designed for it is kind of like the idea of a rage room. That's realistically how a lot of people tend to treat their video games and their competitive multiplayer experience anyways. You go online, you try to play video games, you turn it into an Xbox Live lobby from the good old days, and then you go out into the world and you act like a human being. And then you go here when it's time to not act like a human being. Because, bro, I can't afford a section of my house where I can just put down tarp and shit and start smashing things and breaking bottles.
Well, I mean, Carl, something that always what is it? What's his name? That Sticks Hexenhammer once noted that I always found rather interesting is the correlation between the rise of the internet and the rise of people and the lowering of violent crime in that same time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I personally attribute that to people being able to do exactly what you just said instead of taking a gun and shooting up Columbine, that kind of thing.
It's a very strange feeling to know that there are people who just ironically would run a group of children in a truck down in the street. But hey, it's okay. He's feeding on Tryndamere. He is 0, 16, and 5, and he is still trying to int my fucking tower. I still carry the goddamn game. I still put my team on my goddamn back and force them across the line, kicking and screaming, even as they're telling me, "Die, faggot! We don't want to listen to you, you little bitch." But it's okay.
People are like, oh god, it's so awesome because like people are saying, oh, we need to get rid of toxicity. I'm like, dude, this has helped people. There's like one of the funniest situations I try to look at the world as realistically as I can. And there are so many people that are blinded by idealism or ideology. And I'm just sitting here like, dude, no. It's like I'm looking at the world as it is, and I'm looking at as pragmatically, but as empathetically as I can. And let me tell you, it's the same thing with banning people. You think they're just gonna go away? No, you've literally emboldened them.
Like the problem.
I've literally been. I mean, I've been bored. It was. I'll be brief about this little aside, but. If you guys know about me, I'm kind of a bit of a falling out Christian, but I do follow an amazing Catholic woman, Social Nomad Ratch on Twitter, and she's amassed. I'm impressed. She amassed like a 6K following just by being a trad woman, and it's crazy. It's awesome. But there was a situation where like I realized there's no excuse for me not to go back to my own faith because here we have all these people are saying, well, I'm not really. I'm not saying I don't say that rule out the fact there's a God, but how dare you indoctrinate your kids into thinking there is one? And it's like, shouldn't you just like live and let live if that's what you really believe? Well, wait, am I still okay? I'm like, well, I guess what choice is there? Be a miserable person who obviously doesn't believe what they actually say, or go for something that just tries to be a good person, like I've always thought about my religion. Well, I guess that explains it then. Now, doesn't it?
See, the problem that exists with just the internet in general at this point is that everything is infected. There's like been 3 to 4 videos that Short Fatotaku has dropped, Dev has dropped this week.
And they were ballin', man.
And all of them are connected to the same problem, which is the concept of literal game theory. Not MatPat game theory, actual game theory of psychological and general political interaction. politic
They're
as in
great videos. We need to get them on here. I'm just saying.
yes, we actually do. I want to do the interviews sooner than later, and
One thing at a
I'm gonna
time.
have some time to do so, but it has to happen in basically times that I have days off, and I don't know what he does. And
well, he's trying to get back into the usual groove, from what I've been told. So,
oh, he
wants to come on.
He got sick for a bit. Like everybody in his house got sick for a bit, and there was a bunch of fucking gay ops and drama with Uzulu apparently deciding to be a backstabber. I was physically in the chat from the work in the vault for that because we actually have access to a computer while we're doing it. But my job's also being really gay. That's an entirely different rant aside, but let me finish this thought.
You're no longer you're not a temporary nigger anymore. Why did I say that?
No, I am not a temporary nigger anymore. Now I am a permanent fuckboy. It is not as great as I thought, because the first thing that they fucking trapped me with is like, oh, you've been being paid weekly, but now we pay you bi-weekly. Tee-hee-hee. Paid every Friday. Tee-hee-hee. That's fucking gay. So I can't do anything money-wise unless I plan out things on a budget. So that's fun. That's normal.
Welcome to the big leagues, boy.
But that just means I have to literally set things aside, and people who are not valued in the immediate cycle, I can't help people as much as I freely used to before. But at the same time, it means I have more money available on hand. But I'm also about to be fucking Ebenezer Scrooge. Let me get back on this thing here. The thing about game theory is that the difference between a finite game and an infinite game is what sustains the idea and the attitude of people who do a thing, right? So let's apply that to like the internet in whole. The infinite game of the internet is that if you do something like trolling, it doesn't matter whether or not you block or ban my account. I still beat. That's literally the concept. Yes. I beat. So when you try to make something like, say, oh, I don't know, Activision Blizzard and Riot, but specifically right now, Activision Blizzard, getting hit 3 times. First, they got your ass because you were fucking and raping your colleagues, and you were just being fucking pederast to the company. Then y'all got hit with the carburetor, with all the butterflies just going up there trying to stick the pops in on the buttons. And now you're getting fucked over. And now you're getting fucked over not just because of your abuses of your coworkers, but also the abuses of your labor laws. And now you're getting fucked over not just by the state of California suing you for both those things, but now you're getting investigated by the SEC. And it is falling apart. It is falling apart. Fucking put some Todd on the radio, because that shit is coming tumbling down. We will actually get to see a frown on Bobby Kodak's little goblin fucking face. And
sorry, go ahead.
It's the infinite theory there is that in Activision Blizzard's mind, when you think of something like Overwatch, a dead game that is only played by people who love to talk about how much they look and make the kind of TikToks that I am constantly deluged with when I'm looking for something good enough to post on Twitter. You get people who are so happy to toast about pegging and their sexuality and bullshit, but when you ask them to do a basic simple command, they can't do it. So in the infinite game that we have seen, like with what has happened to PSO2 on the NA servers, leaked to stream, where they start purging mass accounts because it's the same thing as it ever was. Progressives have gotten into a place, they have sanitized the game and made it a nice, clean, crisp, and empty fucking space, which is the same shit that happened to Activision Blizzard. The infinite game there is that you think it's too big to fucking fail. And well, you see, we own the space and they just can't resist playing it. But like, bitch, that's a finite game. Me involved with the community that you claim that you're a part of is finite, because y'all motherfuckers aren't communing with anything other than this dick. What happens in reality is that the infinite game of me just pushing people around is going to consistently and infinitely be there. Because this is the reason why a company like Riot designed their systems that they did as a games as a service. They sell things like Riot Points because they want you to consistently play the game, because they know smurfing exists. They've always known it has existed. It has always been a problem when it comes to online experiences, whenever you're playing any game that's about competitive skill matchmaking. That's not a battle royale. Because that's the evolution of games there. You went from real-time strategy and first-person shooters that were based on your ability to carry by yourself, and literally you just caring about your performance and ranking up alone, to a 5v5 match-made experience with a 10-man lobby. But the problem is that you're held hostage by those other players. The evolution to that was battle royales and hero shooters, where it was more about collective competitive play, 5-on-5, or in the case of Overwatch, 6-on-6, to make people work together. But the problem that ends up happening is that when you have a community that only cares about aesthetics and nothing about education, you don't actually have people who make your game healthy. You have people who make your game toxic, because they're playing the finite and infinite game of trying to control the space of the game rather than actually understanding the game as itself. So what ends up happening is it's a finite system of the same players consistently doing the same shit and never learning from themselves, while looking up at bigger people and saying, oh no, I could be like them. But they never actually apply those things. So when I go on stream and I play League of Legends or I play Smite on camera and I'm demonstrating this attitude and this behavior, it is like they believe that they are stuck forever in this cycle and they can never move past the threshold. So they decide, nope, this is it for me, it is fine. So when you throw these things in their face and you go over it on camera, the toxicity comes out because that's all they know. All they know is, well, you said mean words to me, so I get you banned. And it is wild to me that my account during that 20-hour session didn't incur a single fucking penalty or chat restriction. It probably will. Doesn't really matter. But the level of just vile shit that was said, the kind of behavior and animosity in action. Because imagine for a moment, you go to a place where you want to have fun, and you say to yourself, you know what? I don't fucking like Dave's face. Dave's a little fucking bitch. How dare you tell me to tie my fucking shoelace, bitch? That's why I wear fucking dots! And it's like, I want to lose what I'm working on because I specifically hate this one guy. Mm-hmm. And that's like,
it's built off Steam, bud.
That's like the finite and the infinite game wrapped up into one. But the way that they view it is like, it's, we're too big to fail. We're just growing everywhere. We're growing every year. People are watching our game every year. No. People are watching Worlds every year. Because to watch...
Carl,
yes.
You know the funniest part of all of this is?
What?
Despite having the entirely opposite problem, Team Fortress 2 comes out on top by doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I'm getting an update too. Like 2 updates to 2 specific standalone titles on Steam.
But not Team Fortress 2, though.
Yes. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's still...
My point is...
That's still full of hackers, though.
But that's my point. It has the opposite problem. Too many players that are all bots.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it still wins by doing nothing.
Well, see, it's a different... It's a different outlook. Because in that place, it's like, all right, we know what the problem is. But when the human factor is the problem, what Riot and what a lot of these gaming companies believe in, especially with Activision Blizzard, is they believe if they just cover up the problem and gloss it over, that it's going to go away. That's the entire philosophy.
They're going to call their character gay.
That's the entire philosophy. And it's not just change the character gay because of politics. They do that to seem progressive because they want Chinese money. Always
not only that. It's also the. I made an animation once that was basically in case of like what did the whole like you guys on phones, and then like the next year it shows someone coming out of the closet. I'm gay. I guess I just was found out the Left Can't Meme is listening to the podcast. Hey buddy.
Hot.
Appreciate it.
But like
you just text.
This is like the philosophy of how they look at their business actions, right? They look at their stock prices. Because I get a lot of time in the vault to just study investments, despite the fact that I only intend to be with that company for a year or 2 years to have money on the side, so that I can actually get back to doing this shit full time. Because I'm tired. I'm tired of having to clock into a job and waste 10 to 12 hours of my life where I'm not inside of a woman or in my chair. Like, my ass either needs to be in a chair or my dick needs to be in a woman. Those are the 2 states of Carl. If I'm not doing that, there's something wrong here. But the way that Bobby Kotick and the companies behave is they make a leveraged choice that they are going to fuck their company the same way that Tencent fucks everything, and they're going to choose
survivors.
They're going to choose to talk about what they want to talk about and choose not to talk about what they don't want to talk about that makes them feel bad. And anything that gives them bad publicity and press, they're going to have the game journalists run gambit to protect them. But the problem is that people playing the experience know what the fucking problem is. Like, there is no world where I should go to a competitive experience and I can certifiably say, oh no, I'm not the problem here. when a person admits, oh no, I don't want to win, I just want you to lose, that's when players have to be banned from the queue. That's a design that they can make and implement because they've already done it before. There's this new system that they're putting together where it's like, oh, a person who's doing leave buster shit, if they keep fucking dodging games or leaving the computer, this is what will happen to them. No. You have people who sit inside of streams and will skim the pages of Twitch and Twitter looking for players and looking for reports through the automated system to try and present as though you're stopping toxicity. This was what was designed by Riot Light, Rudy, Jeremy, Lin. That was the original concept of the Light Smite. People went to the player behavior moderation boards. They would try to attest their case, and then they would pull up their chat logs and say, well, see, you said this, and that's bad. Right, so, hey, dumbass, please stop pushing the fucking wave. You're going to get yourself killed, and that's why you're dead, is not comparable to, hey, dyslexic bitch, fuck yourself and kill yourself. There's no world where you can explain how that makes sense. And the infinite game there is that they present the healthy front face, which, obvious, but they present the healthy front face, right? So you can see a game that's like all nice sparkles and ooh and shit, but then you try to go into it, and all the people who play it, they look like their fucking pronouns are they, them, demiqueer, ACAB captain, cum slut, but they speak to you like they are a fucking factory worker who has never taken a shower in months, and only when his wife tells him it's time to have sex. And that is bizarre, because the internet has the inverse problem now, especially when it comes to Twitter. People will go on to the internet specifically to try and piss people off because they want to stay in an echo chamber. We see it on Twitter all the time now. They put it onto Twitter all the time now because the same individuals who use Twitter as basically the opportunity to either be a person who wants to tell funny jokes and laugh amongst themselves, or they never got to be a bully in high school, are the same individuals doing this bullshit. And they think it's cute. And it is weird. It is weird. I've shown before.
Carl, it's not weird. In my opinion, it's expected.
No, it's fucking weird because I've actually talked to people outside. I have gone outside, touched grass, and ate ass. And I met a leftist that is like this. And I've posted that video before because it was one of the car rides for my Lyft when I was going to work. I have sat there and I listened to him explain it to me. And his mindset was, bro, I watch these people for entertainment value, people like Vosh, people like Shoeonhead, just political woke scolds in general, and also ACABs and fucking socialists and, you know, super silk or lip silks and all that. His exact words were, I watch them for entertainment and for edutainment, but I never agree with their politics, and also I cannot factor how their politics look compared to mine, and I am ashamed that I am with these people. Right? And this was a male who said this.
Okay.
And he specifically cited Vosh, Shoeonhead, ContraPoints, and PhilosophyTube. And listening to him and thinking about it, especially while I was playing yesterday, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Because it's always the same fucking kinds of people. Because it's the same kinds of people that push for this kind of authoritarianism are the same individuals who will then sit there and say, oh no, I have no problem whatsoever at all. Especially when this had to do with Ashley Roboto, because she's exactly one of those users. It's even worse because she is literally an employee of Twitch who works as a scapegoat whenever they want to have a front-facing person to present their ideas, because that's what they do. They take a really nice, youthful face, kind of like when you're working in a restaurant. They take a youthful face, preferably female, preferably attractive, and also looks like they'll cry if you yell at them. And they use them to try and stop you from having fun with whatever it is you're doing. And since the person was political, and at the same time they cannot believe that a person would be civil in normal conversation when setting up something like politics, but they can have this outward persona where they seem like they're always mad, it gets to this dilemma where you look at what you're to the people who you're talking with, and it's why I've ended up having to start just muting and blocking accounts outright, even if they've been longtime followers, because I'm getting to the point that everything is starting to just slowly grate on my nerves, because it's like dealing with a really fine, great sandpaper, right? Everything's rough around the edges, and you rub at it a little bit, and it starts getting smoother and smoother. But you rub at a place for far too long, so it starts developing this really fucking sharp edge that cuts you. I'm just dealing with the cuts right now, and it's like, why am I doing this? Because I know I do it for video games. That's content. But Twitter-wise, why get into arguments with stupid people who are intentionally lying for clout?
See, that kind of leads me into something I wanted to discuss just briefly, because I know we've talked for ages on the person, but it was something I brought up to Jay the other night when I was talking to her. For those who don't know, Frozen Binary Dev is one of my dear friends online, one of the closest people I know, one of the smartest people I could ever have the pleasure of knowing. Well, we were talking, and I mentioned this fun little scenario. Vito has a new account on Twitter. And before he muted me, I literally asked, because Dev posted a video of him. I'm like, wait, did he get a new account, or did I blocked? I muted him, and he's like, oh, new account, baby. And I'm like, okay, press the block, bye. Adds you're being muted. And I'm like, but I found it amusing. I found it at least amusing that he basically admitted the only way he was going to be able to continue stirring the shit that he stirred, which you just described, for the record, was if he made a new account. That is sad, but totally Vito. If that makes any sense.
Oh, see, this is that we've had been on this topic before, but with Vito, it's a very specific level of retarded, right? Because
yeah, exactly.
Because at this
he
point,
realize how sad it sounds.
Like,
he doesn't know how sad it sounds.
The problem here is something that's been talked about a lot when it comes to like comics, Twitter, comic industry in general, and individual creators like Piper.
Follow Perch. Perch has really good stuff on this.
Yes, Comic Perch, Nerdrotic, Piper.
Yes.
If you
Perch is half the reason why I'm doing this now. But anyway, continue.
If you like the big circle of like the individual creators, I guess Ethan Van Sciver. I don't have an opinion of any person who's doing the current still stupid gay ops of like the fractioning war campaign versus Comicsgate shit. It is literally just a hashtag, guys. It's literally just a hashtag. It's a breath of
fresh air right now. Perch is really in that regard. Anyway.
It's like that with Infamous, and it's also like that with Vito, because they have the exact same job but inverted, right? Vito Gestalt literally is a person who exists to try and agitate. He's like the NAACP, except the C stands for cringe.
Yeah.
And every single time he goes on the internet, he specifically is looking to get attention, but he wants to get the right amount of attention. He wants to get the right amount of attention so he can go onto the podcast with people like Tommy C and all of those individuals. You know, Tommy C, Andy Worski, shout out to Worski, a bunch of people like that. And he wants to go on the camera and say, oh yeah, look at all this salt that I generated when I said this tweet. I just said normal fucking things, and these people got mad. But in reality, he's frothing and upset and fuming under the surface. Because as a reactionary person who wants to be a very fake and gay version of Andy Signor, he fails at that. He's not a good movie reviewer, because in order to be a good reviewer, he needs to actually learn how to listen to people who are saying things. Actually look at a tweet and then look at another tweet and then look at another tweet and say, all right, I'm not going to have any opinion about what these people are saying, but this is what they've said. He can't be a journalist. He doesn't know how to, because he doesn't want to be a journalist. Because being a journalist requires actually having to investigate shit and study and research. It's easier to say stupid shit on the internet and then say, well, you see, now I have video content. Which I suppose, that's your grift. But then the problem becomes, okay, I've said stupid things on the internet and I have forgotten that archives exist. Because this is his problem. He doesn't like the fact... He doesn't like the fact that people can take screenshots, so he'll say, oh, well, you only had me on these two things, because this is what he said when I pulled out my video, that I finally sat down and made all those fucking months ago. I got fucking annoyed, because realistically, this is the problem. What he wants is he wants to be able to say, well, I don't even know, this person is relevant to me, but it's like, no, it is actually relevant. Because you're so fucking retarded, you've made documentation of your retardation necessary. Because you lie so fucking much and you talk so much shit that it requires people to sit down and demonstrate, okay, this is what he said, and this is his actual attitude. Watch this shit, watch this shit, watch this shit. And like a goddamn clock, broken on a day. He struck twice and did exactly what I expected, which is he came into the comments and started saying, oh, you only have 6 words. You only have 6 words. So I pull out the video and he's like, man, that doesn't matter. But then this is what led to me having the attitude where I'm just starting to block people who want to start to act fucking obnoxious and obtuse. Where someone comes in and says, look, like Vito has good base takes. I don't know about all those other Twitter bad people, but listen, he's actually a good guy. And it's like, I showed them this and they're like, bro, I'm not going to watch that. They had a argument by themselves for an hour. The video itself is 15 minutes. If you put it on double speed, it takes 7 minutes. And even if you're just looking and skimming the page, you can see the point that I make. In 7 minutes, you chose to take all this time to explain how you don't want to watch something because you don't want to be wrong, and you also don't want to be on the wrong side of things because you're trying to please somebody who specifically looks at you as money. And on the opposite side of that attitude, where a person lies for clout and then has to run away from his own takes because it destroys his brand, because brand as it is, he doesn't have one. Because being annoying is brand. He gets muted. He needs to make a new account so that he can be able to do the same shit again. That one gets muted and or blocked. And then whenever he comes up on the timeline, people will bring up all the other times he's done dumb shit, which will continually ruin him, like Vosh. But that's a different rant entirely. In Lauren Tiffany Atencio Cooper's case, in Revmis's case, you have a person who, just for those who have never been here to listen, was somebody who unironically hired and asked their friends to personally dox me, an ex-Fed, because I roasted her about comics facts that she didn't know. She sidled up to the mainstream comics industry and got into a position where they would put her shitty fucking art in a book, and I remind you that Deadbeak's comic that she supposedly drew is unironically drawn in such a way that it looks like the apartments that I have been looking at with a certain person. Whenever I'm like, when I was on break the other day, looking and listening to her roast them while she's looking at shit in her area that she would like to like move into at one point. That's the level of art she draws, and that's the level of knowledge she has. But she exists not specifically to troll people, but to antagonize people and bully them. And these two people are the yin and yang that represent the attitude of the online experience. You either have somebody who's so fucking stupid you can't have an argument with them, or you have somebody who's so fucking vile and evil that they will never be responsible for their actions. Because, oh, it's not me, it's all those chud dude bros online. You gotta report the accounts, guys. You gotta report these accounts because I want my scalps. But don't you dare learn who my dad is. Don't expose that I have money. Don't do that! Public record? My dad on Fox Business? What's that? No, that's dox. Doxing something that is on a public record with business as he's going and on state trips with my mom to go talk to business dignitaries like Russian heads of security. No. That's verboten. But excuse me, Mr. Shad Basecock 659. I need to talk about why you think that women need to have boobs.
I kind of wonder, Carl. This is just a random thought I just had. I wonder, like, if they look at their daughter in the same level of disgust that Biden obviously has for his son.
Probably.
His excuse person. I'm just like, it just a thought just occurred to me, and it made me really laugh. Anyway,
in any case, to wrap up that, It's starting to get to the point where I just have to laugh at everything now, because if I don't laugh at it, I'm going to have boiling anger. And
Carl, that's how I keep saying. But yeah,
it's like, it's not even like I saw a thing and I have to laugh. It's like, no, whenever I go onto TikTok when I'm at work and I'm either having downtime or I'm horny and I'm looking at these women, I feel pure fucking disgust, because it's just all horny women all day, all the time. And then you'll see them be hypocrites. They will talk shit about the opposite gender. And if you scroll and you go through the fucking posts, you will find like 20 posts of them insulting everything about the male gender, and especially when it comes to gay lesbian TikTok, just unironically hating men. Like, there are so many people on that application that will just make up bullshit like, oh no, the reason why I can't get a man is because he doesn't love me for my body size. And then you look at their fucking posts and you scroll down a bit and it's like, I just think men are a fucking creature, an animal. I literally think they shouldn't be allowed to fucking fornicate and reproduce. I just want to like to have a disembodied penis all the time. And that's just that's my love language. You know, I have to abuse myself. I can't come because, you know, my boyfriend once asked me to do the dishes and I was like, oh, it's it's like slow seeding burning when you see it, because you get disappointed in humanity first off, but then you just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, and then you like flick back and forth between Twitter and TikTok and it's the same exact people. Ooh. 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 That's a good way. That's a good way to create depression, or to just give somebody the energy to want to kill God. You know?
Well, Carl, may I may I?
Oh yeah, please go ahead.
Please, I'll let you. I'll do that actually. Here's my similar yet I would say more relaxed take on all this, because I maybe it's Gundam has rubbed off on me, but I've hit this point in my life where I just like, I guess what it is the what they call I call it serenity prayer, but it's just like you look at the world not as you'd like it to be, not as it like the worst thing in the universe, but just as it is. Like a doctor once told me, expect a C+ day. Okay, that's about just above average. That way your things aren't too high, they aren't too low, they're just right. And having a C+ day is better than having an F day. But if you keep wanting an every day to be an A+, you're not going to get that. Now, with that said, I look at the world more or less just as it is. Like, there's only so much I can affect or change. My dad once told me, this is one of the best bits of advice he ever gave me. He said, you know, Charza, you may think the world's about ready to blow up in their face, or the world's gonna end tonight, but the sun's gonna set tonight, and the next morning it's gonna rise, and it's gonna do that from now into the rest of your life. And it really grounds you, allows you to see the world less like it's on fire. Now, with that said, you brought up that whole thing about TikTok women, and it reminded me of something I actually linked to in the chat. And it summarizes the whole situation on Twitter this week that a friend of mutual of mine, and I'm guessing a lot of other people's spooky weeb trash has been dealing with. And I didn't realize until maybe tonight or this week when I posted this meme I made again, how much it's affected people, how much people like it, and how much of influence I have in the world, because I've like literally, I think in response to me posting it again last night, I think Christy Tasty was like, man, that meme has gotten so much mileage, it's ran across the entire world. And she's not wrong. But it could be summed up by Tsuchiko's incoming Primavera. People talk shit on Twitter, but forget everyone can check their likes. And that has been the entirety of the boob patrol, and don't you know, lines on a page are a minor. And all you have to do is click on their profile, go to their likes, and you will see a walking contradiction if that's what they really believed.
See, when
something that
I was about to interject. See, when I did my entire like hours long breakdown of like the online art harassment that just happens on Twitter on an everyday basis, literally at this point it's every hour now.
Cancel culture has become could literally be hooked up as a perpetual motion machine at this point.
It's like the majority of the bullshit, especially when it comes to just general art, is usually somebody trying to monetize some kind of a trend. Because this was actually the thing that pissed me off the most recently, within the last month or so. I'm sure everybody's aware of the camel meme involving the old zone art of Anka fucking the villager. So that's just all over TikTok, with people just doing the recreations. You know, you have porn stars on there. Like, I'm not even joking, not like OnlyFans, actual porn stars on there.
I can believe it.
You have porn stars in there that are monetizing the trend or just being funny. It's actually funny. Some of the porn stars that you would think would be fucking brainless are actually fucking witty.
I'm curious, which ones?
There's a fucking big ass. There's one that I posted before that I said, "Hey, look, I found Christina's mom." So if you look that tweet up, you'll know who I'm talking about. She's one of them. But then you have like
names, please. Just a random name.
I think her name is Brianna Woods. I don't know. You have to look up the tweet. I don't have the ability to remember all these women's tits.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see which one of the people I fap to is based. I'm sorry.
So
I know. I was just had to say it. Thank you.
Don't make me get the horny bat. I have a horny bat. I will use my horny bat.
I'm sure Michelle got that for you. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So there's porn stars on there. You have OnlyFans creators on there, but they call themselves corn stars because I guess TikTok's Chinese fucking spying app technology wants to try and ban every use of any slur and word in anger, because there's many times where people will come to try and talk shit to you in your comments, and a lot of the interaction on TikTok is really just people trying to dunk on each other constantly. There's one account in question that just every time I see it, I roll my fucking eyes, and somebody will be talking about something actually serious to society, and this nigga is gonna cut in with some fucking new bossa wave music talking about no. He fucking turns into this bullshit. You know, the fucking look that every fucking woke Twitter leftist who's black does, where they put on a black fucking turtleneck, or they act like a fucking copy of D'Angelo Wallace. This motherfucker puts on a fucking turtleneck all the goddamn time, pulls out his music kit, and just starts playing misogyny. And when people call him out for right, he's like, nigga, I don't care. One of these...
Carl, that kind of reminds... Isn't that a Pro ZD clip? This whole concept of people saying, well, you know what actually matters? This, like subtweeting.
Well, you could, but the problem with PoseD is that he does it because it builds his brand, because he's just a voice actor.
He has become the villain he hates. He has become one of his very own videos. I'm just saying, he made one about it.
I know. This motherfucker is the exact problem of when it comes to voice acting in general, because that's the reason why a lot of people who are individuals like myself who do contract work, that they just take up, we don't involve ourselves with that, because I'd rather be based on my own account. Look, bro, don't even get me fucking started. Don't even get me fucking started. Because when I saw that shit the other fucking night, when he was talking to Jay like that, I was on the floor watching him fucking royal out. And that week, I got a fucking email from the work of them possibly trying to enforce this fucking bullshit with the coof at the job. Because the dumbass shit about that, just pause on the other thing for a second.
Yeah.
The dumbass shit about that is that you're bringing people into the fucking work that are vaccinated and unvaccinated, right? But you're going to propose that you're going to treat the unvaccinated like second-hand citizens and force them to submit to a fucking nose check or a molecular test every fucking week, right?
Yep.
Right. But then you have people like me who you've been hiring through the temporary services to then convert to permanent. And you have these individuals that come in with this expectation for work and this ability where we will tell you, bro, we got COVID. We might even not even be fucking sick. We might just say, I need to stay away from y'all for 7 fucking days because y'all pissing me the fuck off. Like, thinking I'm about to run all these fucking cards and shit.
They've been sitting in their bunker this whole time and they expect everyone to coddle them. Meanwhile, you guys have been fucking working. I've been fucking working. I have been working this entire goddamn time.
Mm-hmm. So, sometimes that shit happen. And whenever I told them something, it's fine. Like, when I told my fucking agent, Charza's a woman. She was really based. The entire office sent me a fucking card where they gave me a fucking $1 scratch off, which was her way of saying, hey, listen, Carl, you were a fucking gamble, but you worked out. I stuck with you. I fucks with you, sir.
Nice.
But we will spend all that time there on the floor as temporaries. And then you want to start enforcing these authoritarian standards at work. So the way that it works out is that he's talking shit to people about Koof, right? And this is somebody who I have personally helped out before, along with Amy, whenever people were fucking attacking him, calling him a pedophile and a rapist, right? So at our job, they gave us an email telling us not only are they going to try and make us comply to a Koof check if we're not vaccinated, we already know that the fucking vaccine is just a symptom suppressant. You are still a virtual carrier. Now, whether or not I've had both variants at this point, because other people are sick and they just come into work or whatever, I don't fucking know. But I more or less believe I'm immune. I'm not telling you don't take it. I'm telling you be fucking concerned. Although Johnson & Johnson, from what we just got from the other Project Veritas leaks, don't take Johnson & Johnson. Don't take Johnson & Johnson.
I love how Veritas literally took a shotgun shell to the entire narrative.
And they have to. They have to. It's what we have to do. It's what we do here.
Yes.
But anyways, he's bitching about that. I bring out the fucking printed fucking paper email because when you're dealing with a company, you need to have fucking documents because you actually cannot make me comply to an cannot make me comply to an OSHA order that you're trying to send through a government agency That's job
doesn't
is
have
to
that
do
power.
occupational hazards and claim that COVID is a hazard because you're bringing vaccinated people in the office. They can still pass COVID. So those who get
Shake hands, danger. Ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum-dum.
So the people you bring into the office that are unvaccinated, you consider a threat, but not the vaccinated. The vaccinated gets the unvaccinated and even the other vaccinated sick with new or different variants, and thus your entire workplace is fucking empty. You ain't got nobody to do your cards. You need turnover. Right now, over at the other location in Columbus, Ohio, because we have 2 main factories for the place where we work. The other factory setting. They're supposed to have 16 people on the fucking floor. They only have fucking 4 because they can't find anyone. There is no world where any of the shit he was talking doesn't make any fucking sense. And I called him out about that. I showed him the email in it, and he meekly fucking unfollowed me for that shit. Then, not a big, grandiose, because that's what he was doing to Jay. It's like, she just couldn't keep it in the comments. She just kept having to make replies at me. I come at him and I tell him, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? And he's just like, oh, no, Base Carl's mad. I have to look away. And that's just sad to me. That's just fucking sad to me.
Don't get me wrong, I like Chase, but he does have his moments like that. He can be stubborn. Personally, I mean, there are people that like he's had issues with, and then like I have discovered that they are the most wholesome people. I never expected to be like that. Case in point, I don't like throwing him under the bus in this regard when it comes to people he hates that I like. Calvin Goff, he is wholesome. He is probably the lone voice of reason in one of the few. But yeah, I mean, I literally messaged Chase a few days ago, like, what the hell is up with that? And I haven't heard back from him. And thankfully, he still follows me, but who knows after tonight?
Who knows? Who knows? It doesn't matter. I've lost my ability. That's one of the things I was talking about before. People, I'm just snipping people off at this point. Like,
no, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
Like, you don't have a place in my life.
Mad.
I don't talk to y'all. Y'all don't hang with me. Y'all don't kick in on the fucking live stream. Y'all don't come here for this. Why the fuck would I go there for that? Like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you?
Hello there.
Oh. But anyways.
No, I've had to do that too. Carl, do you remember Hippie? I had to cut him off.
Mm-hmm.
Hippie was just toxic to me personally. Like, not just like, it was a situation where it's like, dude, I'm trying to be your friend. I'm trying to be there, but like, I was like, what is this situation getting me? And I'm just like, I felt like, oh, now I see why they all kicked him out of graded 0.5. Okay, well,
It's unfortunate.
Okay, well.
It's unfortunate, but it is. But anyways,
it needs to be done. Yeah.
Anyways, back on the other shit that I was talking about.
Yeah.
Shit, I forgot what I was saying.
We were just talking about the insanity of people in the infinite game theory and all that shit.
No, before that, when you started bringing up COVID and Chase.
Oh, what got me on the subject of Chase then? Fuck, I can't remember. Well, but we were just the insanity of people on Twitter, maybe.
I think so.
Oh, voice acting. Oh,
yes, voice acting. Specifically with Sun Pro ZD, and I guess this also includes sub versus dub people who are very fucking cringe. I can understand this philosophy from 2 positions. You know, the base Carl and nigga Carl. I can understand why a person is like, listen, I just want to watch the movie and I want to understand what they're saying, right? I am legally blind. I can't read the text. But then it's like, okay, but you cannot tell me that you cannot have a reason to understand what Old Boy is and why the remakes of those things are shit. You just cannot make an argument to me about that. And when it comes to voice actors in general, the problem is that politically speaking, the person who contracts us for voice work doesn't need to care, nor should they have to know about our politics. And if they're out there, they're out there. But bro, when I'm behind this microphone recording these lines, whether or not I stick a 6-inch dildo up my ass is not my concern, and it's not your concern either. If that's how I achieve this yelling sound, good for you. And that's really what it feels like. Like, there are plenty of voice coaches on Twitter that interact with the people. And even funnily enough, Crispin Freeman, while doing his own voice acting classes, of which I am a student, and also doing his own work, he will interact with people on Twitter. And he is so nice and so chill. The one that I intend on looking to and getting into talking to, once I decide to start being more fucking active with the shit, Gabrielle Nistico. She's over in a state away from me in South Carolina. And she works with people like Steve Bloom and whatnot. She doesn't have a single fucking problem with that either. There's like a bunch of women who have this attitude too, where they're
It's
like
a
they're like
mindset.
Brittany Lotta and Matt Shipman, husband and wife team. There have been people who have come after Brittany on the timeline. I'm like, y'all fucking retarded, because this is somebody who's literally telling you, yes, we know that people got popular fan work, but that's still legal though. It doesn't matter. Make new shit. And everybody lost their goddamn brain about that. And it's like, do you realize this is how it happens? Like, this is how it happens. Because Brittany Lotta not only is one of the people responsible for Coach of Sound bringing you Honey Pop and Honey Pop 2 and Cam Studio and the majority of most of your favorite fucking visual novels, because all the actors and actresses work together on different shit, they're also responsible for making the unfucked versions of your fucking sub animes, okay? Like, yes, we don't like Funimation, we don't like Monica Royale, we don't like Sean Schimmel and the rest of the people who are fucked up because of Kickfic, but you don't understand, when you start doing this shit, you are pushing them to that side.
Yeah.
It's like the video that we were talking about earlier. You are pushing them over there, and it's like, wow, all these people attacked us, and this is the breadcrumb that they use to try and get them to think like this. And this is what's happened to people living in California. They eventually get onto this grift where they realize they can just say things for political reasons and completely renege the position they had before. Phil Lamar has done this. Pro Z has done this, and majority of voice actors have done this. I don't know if Kellen Doth is going to do this at some point, because I would like him to not, because it would be good if he gets into the position like Justin Cook with these companies, and he just does work, and that's fine. It's what happens to a lot of these fucking soft girls who end up being voice actors. We've seen this happen to Vivzy Pop. Every single time, the politics becomes the main personality trait of a voice actor. Yes. They become so fucking intolerant of everyone around them that whenever they get pushback of even the slightest criticism, or they get burned and they get staked for something absolutely fucking retarded that they say, they quadruple down and they use it as a way to virtue signal to other people. That shit does not fucking matter. I don't care. Please voice the character correctly. Dribble the fucking ball. That's all we have to do.
Can I offer a like before, a similar situation that is almost an inversion of what you just said, like the other half of the coin, if you will. Because I was getting into a situation with someone, Scanty. What's her name? Poe's girlfriend is a very nice artist that I've started to really enjoy her art and also her takes. There was a situation that I was tagged in, and I only jumped in like 24 hours after the fact, which is usually how it is nowadays. There is like hours go by, I'm doing real world shit or working at my job, and all of a sudden I come back to like this person tearing into the other person, and I just sit there thinking to myself, hey, what are you doing? So the situation was, I had mentioned how it was kind of funny that, we're talking about the Netflix adaptation basically. And Scanty said something to the effect of, look, this show's existence does not ruin the old stuff. And as me personally, what really caused me to kind of throw my hands up and all this is like, look, it was Doctor Who actually. And I said, okay, I'm going to build a Plex server with all the shit I've been meaning to watch. Everything right now is fucking cancer. So I'm just going to sit down and start the backlog. Read Berserk. Watch Berserk. Actually watch a trilogy of Gundam films. Go back to anime I enjoyed from my past, like Zoids. Going back to it two decades past me watching it has been great, but it also made me realize how fucking old I am. With that said, this person's like, no, it does cancel. Or basically, they're like, he was looking at it opposite of what I look at things. I look at things like as they are. This show? Yeah, it's gonna cause, like he was saying something to the effect of, yeah, people, when everyone's referring to Final Fantasy VII, they're referring to the original thing that everyone looks at, but it shouldn't have to be that way. I'm like, yes, it shouldn't have to be that way. It shouldn't have to be that there is now two things with the same name. Look at Ghostbusters, okay? But you just canceled out your argument there. Yeah, it shouldn't have to be, but when you say that, everyone is obviously referring to the one everyone remembers fondly. And if not, well, it's an inconvenience, yes, but that's from a normie perspective. And I basically, what I saw in this argument, the situation was, this guy was basically responding in turn to the same. Basically, he was the troll being trolled in a way. He was a guy who basically he was. My argument was, simply put, Kevin Smith showed his hand. We know that basically in my opinion, ever since the Death Note movie, that they've realized that negative publicity is still publicity. People are going to hate watch something. Look at the Full Metal Alchemist movie that no one remembers. I am not sure, but I would be willing to bet that came out before Death Note. Death Note was a thing that was so bad that everyone gave it hate views. And they said, well, fuck, we can just make all these... We'll make all these things as terrible as we can. We'll let these people run wild and run their mouth off on Twitter. There's something I want to note. When that one woman said, oh, we tried doing an anime accurate thing. I want to make a video that jump cuts to Burgundy saying, I don't believe you, but I digress. The whole reason they're doing this is to get people upset so people watch it. You have those who will watch it because it'll make the chuds angry, or there are those who watch it just to dunk on it. But those are views regardless. My parents cut out Netflix ever since Cuties, and I have not missed it. I'll pirate what I want to watch. The rest of it, fuck up. Not worth my time. But
no, I don't get
apathy.
I don't get it.
Apathy is what's needed. But my point, though, with this one person is this, Carl. Is that what you were saying though about these people leading them the other way? What you need to do is when you realize the other person in this art, like I'm going into things now less antagonistic. I'm going into things just sounding reasonable and letting them. If they tie their own rope, okay. If they don't, well then I'll have a good conversation. But I used to go in guns a-blazing, ready to play a game of freaking Matador to them. Now I'm just like, no, I'm gonna fucking just be sensible. Because I got a little too trigger happy, I guess.
See, I don't have a choice when it comes to using Netflix anymore at this point. I get forced to watch so much garbage.
Well, you get paid to do it.
I mean, yes, but also there's the interpersonal use of
Carl.
What?
I hate to say this, but I'm fucking poor.
You can pirate, but see, the problem is I have somebody who's like, "Hey, Carl, I want to watch this," and it's like, "Well, it look good," and it's like,
it does not look good, but I'm gonna have to do it anyway because you're an amazing person that I like. Am I wrong?
Yeah. You know, it's moments where you look over at the screen.
I think cringe is a small price to pay for genuine human interaction. You know how much I would want that? Just saying. You realize I would be riffing the whole way. Me and my brother were watching Way of the Dragon the other day. Bruce Lee throws a gun into the other side of the room, and my brother yells "Bang!" and I'm like, God damn it! Oh, that's funny. That's funny. I don't want you to riff it, but God damn it, that was too damn funny. You can riff those things, especially if you have a good wit.
We already do. It's like karate. It's like when you're riding a scooter for the first time and you karate chop your ankle.
I keep.
Would you still get back up on that bike? Would you still get back up on that scooter? I don't know.
I would eat that, Carl. You need to eat that horse. Eat that horse with me, Carl, or eat that horse with Jay. I don't care. When you get knocked off that horse, you have to eat that horse. Eat that horse with me with you.
Why did I think you said you gotta eat that horse? I'm gonna tell them you said that.
Carl, I said eat that horse. I was referring to Dragon Ball Z Abridged. What? Did you think I wasn't? Carl, I speak in over 9,000 internet memes. You must realize that. You didn't know that? Your first thought was, why did he say that? Or I don't think he said that. No, the answer is always yes, he said that. That is half the fun of time with Charza. Blame my friends who like always in my family. We like my younger sister. She's 28. She's mentally handicapped, mentality of a 5-year-old, but we love her. And there were even like whenever my brother and me were speaking references, she'll occasionally shout out, "I defy you, Heartman!" And we're like, "Oh, even she joins in. It's fun. It's fun. I love it." We all speak in memes. We all speak in references.
Man, you guys are gonna find her a great autistic husband, and he's gonna bang the shit out of her brains. No cap.
Who, Carl?
No, your sister.
No, dude, no, I'm telling you this much. She is she's not able to do that kind of stuff.
That's why it has to be an autistic guy. You will both be able to have them in the house, and they'll both entertain each other. And then late at night, you'll hear the forbidden sounds of autistic donkey sex.
Well, Carl, you must realize we don't even know the description of what she has. But my brother and I, we're on the spectrum. We both desire to be like the human, and we're both kind of making our way in the world in that regard. What, you didn't realize we were on the spectrum? Carl, autism is my way. Did you not know that?
Mm-hmm.
You didn't know that. Do I hide it that well? I'm actually surprised.
Mm.
I mean, I'm humbled, but fucking hell, that's what have you experienced?
What have I
Oh my
experienced?
god. Yeah. You didn't know I was on the spectrum? Seriously?
No, I do. I did know that.
Oh. Okay. Well, either way, one of those days. Well, either way, I mean, Lord knows I'll probably be the one taking care of her, my parents eventually, you know. But hey, I love my silly bean. Shout out to Silly Bean. She is my sister is, well, when you're raised in a family with someone like that, you get a better perspective of her. But that's too much personal, cushy stuff. Let's talk about internet cancer.
Great segue. In that news, do you know who Zapty is?
You're referring to Turkey Tom?
No, the actual Zapty.
Fuck, Wait, that's on Twitter?
Yes.
Talking about okay.
So Zapty was an internet creator who used to be on this podcast with a bunch of people. One of which used to be
whoa, hold up. Zaptiee.
Yes.
You mean that's fucking Turkey Tom?
No. Turkey Tom was using Zapty's name to troll people like Bionic Pig because they called this man a sexual predator.
I am so confused now.
Okay, so So
Turkey Tom is using this name.
Yes, because Bigby came back with another name.
Okay.
Okay, so you know how Mr. Medicare has been on Twitter this entire time as Quarantine Coof because he became a doomer?
Yes.
That is what Zapty's done here. They tried to destroy his credibility by calling him a sexual pedophile, and then over the years, they've been exposed for this. And he came back with a new name, so he's no longer Zapty, he's Bigby. So, one of the things that happened... Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
One of these people that was like deep internet lore on a podcast before, that Bionic Pig and a bunch of other people were a part of. It's a very big thing. If you don't know about this, go look up the videos that have already been made about this drama. But he recently came back, and one of the people who were responsible for that lying and scheming on him, Bionic Pig, who was a part of the old podcast they were on, where they tried to expose him as supposedly being this sexual predator, just basically either privated or deleted his main account, and has basically been chased off the goddamn internet. And it's the funniest shit possible. And the reason I know that is a certainty is because not only do I have the tweet about it right here on the screen.
I'm looking into this. This is new. Oh god.
Right
I'm too much
here.
of a boomer.
This tweet right here. An account of 57.8k followers. He completely unfucking personed because he doesn't want to deal with the smoke for the fact that people now know that he's a fucking liar. And I know that he's there because he's been reposting all of his shit from his channel on TikTok.
Okay.
It is fucking hilarious to me. It's funny how many people who are YouTubers end up doing this. But it's even funnier when it's the people who are like trying to chase after a Zoomer crowd. Because that crowd will not be there in like 5 years.
So wait, oh, hey, Scam. I just literally opened up the chat just now. I'm sorry, Scam, for not noticing. Okay, fuck. Okay. Yeah, this is okay. So when was his rise and fall? That might give me a better bearing of where I was.
Let me just put the fucking video on the fucking screen for you.
Okay.
This Turkey Tom's video talking about Zapty, I'm Alex, and Ellis the Alien, and Bionic Pig during the podcast that they used to have. Zapty supposedly being canceled was them, namely I'm Alex, Elves the Alien, and Bionic Pig, trying to accuse him of something that he was not guilty of. I'm Alex is one of the people from the internet commentary community, as is Elves the Alien, just another YouTuber who does shit.
House guy, yeah.
And then Bionic Pig, who does the same thing also, but other shit as well.
Okay.
He was one of the first canceled YouTubers. Period.
Okay.
Like the same way that right now I'm Alex is pretty much canceled because everybody knows he's a fucking scumbag. And how everybody knows that Bionic Pig is fucking canceled because he's a fucking scumbag as well, even as he hides behind his kid. And the same way people know that, or rather, the way people presented Leafy is here as being a scumbag because it's an easy dunk on people. These are one of the people who are responsible for one of the bigger creators on the on YouTube basically not getting to have a career anymore because they wanted to take what he had and mess it to himself. A clout chaser getting his comeuppance is what I'm trying to tell you.
So, in other words, to quote the old Klingon proverb, "Revenge is a dish best served cold."
Yes.
Cold space. Yeah.
Yes. The entire problem around it is that this level of stupidity only exists in this dynamic and spectrum because it's weird how many times it happens in general when it's YouTubers, because it's very weird since I'm at the point where I'm like a YouTuber myself. But it's like there's so many times where somebody will do something or get involved into something and they think, aha, this will never come back to bite me in my ass.
And then it does.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, how could this have happened? I only literally stabbed someone in the back. How could this have blown up in my face?
It's like the video that I watched before from Normalities. I finally have sat down and watched the last one that I intended to watch.
Normalities.
And when I'm going through her shit, and I've listened to all of her stupid-ass comments and wrote down notes from these stupid-ass observations she makes. The dumbass obstination of wanting to be against supposed child porn in mangas and doujins, but completely forgetting that real-world violence exists, which she has no opinion of whatsoever. To pushing for female content creators because there's not enough female creators. And then outright admitting, I only made my channel so I can have clout because I'm tired of so many men anime YouTubers getting more views than I do and more views than women in general. And fuck those other women. They're not the correct woman. Everything from that to that, there's a subclass of YouTuber that only exists to try and make shit for people who think that they're not the problem in the relationship. Like how women who listen to Beyonce believe that they weren't the problem in the relationship. And I don't mean like, oh, I passively listened to Dangerously in Love a couple of times. No, I mean the people who get really fucking into it, especially the more recent Beyonce songs. That kind of attitude. It's like a disease. It's like a brain rot disease that happens slowly over time with these internet connections.
Well, maybe it ties into that whole phenomenon that I know Compass TV always mentions about diversity. Now diversity only happened like 5 years ago, don't you know? Like, or in the words of Skeletor that I animated, remember, you are special and unique, just like everyone else, until we meet again. I love that voice. I love doing that so goddamn much. Anyway, it's that everyone wants to be special, but when you debase your entire personality off of your sexuality or things you like, it leaves you quite hollow, believe it or not.
It's actually one of the better parts of looking through TikTok while I'm scrolling, because every so often I will see a based male or based female, especially based porn stars, just say from the chest everything that everybody already knows. Like, do people still not understand that TikTok itself is just a nexus of all the people who've basically privated and removed all of their own videos from the internet, just hiding out here? So, like,
I can't say I'm surprised.
Like, occasionally I will rewatch some Dr. Americam every so often because at this point it's just a fucking resource. Like, the no turd twice rule works, guys. Like, having to cover somebody's retarded, stupid shit and never having to do it again, so it's like, oh, this happened again? Yeah, here's other examples of it. It's so good. But I'll go back and I'll rewatch old shit from Dr. Ramercam, and I'll also rewatch the old Ragenings. and there will be topics and subjects that basically the source video that is the original has either been deleted or privated in general. All of those people are on TikTok. And one of the best subjects to fucking learn about is just listen to porn stars vent about how fucked over they get by the outside society, and specifically about how people view the work. And listening to some of these fucking high level creators and some of these in-industry workers who get fucked for a living specifically explain to you that OnlyFans is a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
And then that clicked in my fucking mind. I'm like, oh my god, it really is multi-level marketing. These got these bitches selling Avon and pussy.
No, seriously, it makes that just saying it's a pyramid scheme makes so much sense to me. Because like there's so many people who go on there and make nothing. And then there's other people on there who get pissed off they don't make anything, and now their lives are irrevocably changed because they're chasing something that they were never going to possibly achieve. That makes perfect sense to me.
I remember
That explains it to a sharp point. Holy shit.
I remember like a couple of months back, maybe like 6 or 7 months before, when everybody was on Minds before they realized that Bill Ottman is some bullshit. I remember there was this leftist that I actually followed because a couple of their tweets were funny, who had a link in her profile to her OnlyFans page, and she took that shit the fuck out because she was only making like $32 and very fucking mid, because all the girls that are on TikTok are the exact same kind of girls you expect on OnlyFans, like mid-level chubby, generally like 5 out of 10, but a 7 if she smiles. All of those same people doing like self model work, because having been a gigolo myself, there's actually tiers for how this breaks down, right? So you have model work, right, which is just you taking pictures, nude or not. Then you have like actual performance, which is your solo girl. Then you actually have the fucking, whether that be escort or actually being a porn star. And all these girls that are on here posting about their sexuality and shit and showing their bodies, it's always middling. I'm not expecting hot, but honestly, the hottest ones that I end up seeing on TikTok is almost always the catfish goths. Like every single time I see a catfish goblin and they just reveal like this giant rack out of nowhere. I think this is one of the ones that I posted like 2 weeks ago. There was this woman who was wearing a binder and it makes her fucking feel flat and shit.
I remember that.
And then she puts on an actual bra, and this bitch, she's got fucking twin Billie Eilish going on.
And she's all like, I prefer to wear a binder. And it's like, dude, seriously. I know you think it's not the... And then when you tell them that, they're like, you're being transphobic or something. Because they've been convinced to think that the only reason why they hate their body is because there's somehow XYZ thing, you know?
I mean,
it's sad.
Besides the fucking femgirl or tomboy pipeline brainwashing directly into becoming trans, it's weird because then when you actually listen to a lot of these videos over time, and you look at what they're saying, a lot of them go into it because of the fact that they've been sexually assaulted a lot.
That seems to be a pattern, yeah.
The pattern that I'm seeing here with a lot of it is that the majority of the ones that are on TikTok end up being people who basically got fucked over in a relationship with a dude who was like a 3 out of 10 and like a -1 in the dick department. Basically tell them, and you'll never have anyone ever love you again. And so they immediately turned into OnlyFans as an opportunity to be like, oh yeah, these guys will be so nice to me. They'll be so nice to me. I won't even remember that you exist. And it's like, they go into it with that expectation, and then it's like, I have no money. I have to work a shitty job I hate. I need people to give me money for this. But I also think men are trash. But dick though. But trash. But dick though. But trash. But dick though.
You know, I'm sure you know of her. Siren Cove. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She is one of like... She is like the most relatable. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I sense some tism in her or something. I don't know. But like, I'll be honest. I used to whack off to her when she was an amateur. But she's also like someone that is so genuine when she talks about this kind of stuff. that like I just want to see her succeed in whatever she does. Like I just like there's like your heart pours out in a way because you just see this person who's just like saying what she says, saying it matter of fact, and it's like you just it's like an empathy bubble. I don't know how to describe it. I just want her to succeed. You know what I mean? It's like, and it's very similar to what you described there, but like she's at least, in my opinion, more aware of it, mainly because her experiences are before the bubble, if you catch my drift, of OnlyFans, and it's just. But a lot of things you described there are a lot of things she's mentioned in some of her vlogs and such, and it's just
a lot of the times,
damn,
especially when it
damn
comes,
shame breaks your heart.
a lot of times, especially when it comes to people that just never shut the fuck up about sex. When you see pretty, like extremely pretty people who get the power of pretty privilege, because oh yeah, it's a thing that exists.
Oh yeah.
Like there are applications, there are services, and there are features that you get inside of areas like SoCal where they will give you free shit as long as you're hot. And usually the people who benefit from this are models. It's really sad. But
It really is.
to build off of what Zilgalheim is asking me, what's a catfish goblin? That's a fat catfish goblin. They're like alternative style girls who will specifically dress up in this new goth punk style that's a little bit of scene kid, but a little bit of mall goth. And they'll go out in public and they'll look like this a lot with all this shit and designs and shit, with bodies and whatnot, and all this design and stuff. But then when you get and you see them in private in their normal life, it's like these short-haired women who are just fucking thick in the fucking thighs.
Ah, yes.
And whenever I see videos from them, I'll sit and I'll listen to what they have to say, because for some fucking reason, it's almost always the wallflowers who end up getting the worst fucking sexual experiences, and then they go radically off in one of two directions. They either become more in touch with themselves, or they decide, oh, well, I'm just gonna be a fucking whore then.
I don't know why I say this, but it makes sense, I guess, to me that that's like the two options, or at the very least, you say wallflower, and I'm just thinking to myself that makes sense because, I mean, how else do I describe it? There are people like that, or I'm kind of like, or rather, say for example, like the typical, well, God, I'm gonna say it, Christian. I mean, they got attention. They got such attention that they became addicted to it. And they were like, I have this meme. Okay, Carl. I have this meme that says, it's the sudden clarity Clarence that basically said, Linkara is just a less autistic Christian. They both made comics. They both made basically terrible comics, and they both decided, they both had issues with criticism. Linkara just said, "Fuck it, I'm going to play their game by writing reviews instead of actually making my own shit." But he has all the same problems and proclivities. Takes one to know one.
Oh, it's gotten worse. It's gotten worse for him. There was a fucking video the other week.
Lewis, dude, there is an entire spin-off of like a memeology clone called Kinky Linky that chronicles his descent into madness. And I've been watching that with popcorn because it's been fucking hilarious.
It's not exactly like Noah's descent into insanity.
No, it's different.
But it's the same. It's the same level of autistic, but it's a different level. In Noah Edgewire's case, it's like the man is fighting against the idea of ever attempting to be creative again, and he just gets depressed with himself, and he's like, "No, I'd rather sit in squalor. This is my life now. Yeah. This is what I want to be." And in his
is too wound up in that.
In Likar's case, he acts like a better fucking ex. And bizarrely enough, in the interviews that I've been seeing about it,
dude, I've talked to Liz. I've had streams with Liz. She, like, when she asked him, this is like right around the time when she left the site. She asked Linkara, Lewis to his face, is like, "What is your end game here?" And she said basically, "I'm gonna ride this as far as I can." And when you look at where he is right now, that is quite literally where he is at the end of it. I will once again sing the praises of the live stream she and me had with Crystal Philosopher. It's in my live stream playlist if you guys want to look it up. we had a long, good laugh at his expense to a certain extent. Because apparently, and this I didn't realize until she talked about this like 3 years ago, his taxes were so bad he had to do a 3-day live stream up that culminated in the day he had turned in his taxes. He had $3,000 of taxes owed, and he couldn't pay any of it. So he had to play Pokemon for 3 days straight to make the money up. Have his fans essentially crowdfund the taxes he owed, which is a laughable concept in and of itself. But yeah, exactly. Like I'm not. Let me put it this way: like the deeper you go into Linkara's like deeper lore, which again, Medicare's video is amazing in that aspect. But there's even further things that Kinky and Leaky went into. For example, like notice how Medicare he talked about the Lightbringer, obviously, but that's not where Linkara gets his name. It's from something almost worse. He says to people, "Oh, don't read my Lightbringer stuff. That's cringy shit. Read my ebook where I basically I essentially tell a lady, oh, she shouldn't be upset she got raped. Oh, and also this is where my Miss Signo idea came from. Having missing them or being an eldritch abomination." See, I told Liz, I didn't know any of this, mind you, when I used to be friends with Liz, and I mentioned to Liz, I'm like, one thing I did like about his arcs and his story was missing them. I thought it was a stroke of genius, and she looked at me her reaction was like, I don't know, I always thought it was kind of stupid. And then I found out that in the same story where the Linkara comes from, that's where it was from, and I'm just like thinking to myself, oh God, Liz, you tried to warn me. You tried to be subtle about it.
Yeah.
But no, seriously.
Watching
Lewis is
just watching his descent, especially after the specific interview with Doug talking to an interviewer who was referencing Change the Channel. The main reason why it's going over so poorly for him isn't just the clip of him saying, "I want to be like a family again. We had such great times." And
that was so
that's
fucking cringe.
That's stalker behavior. But it's just the fact that Doug is not acting like a bitter fucking ex. Like he's understanding, because even though that they would be responsible for what they're responsible for, you would not fucking know it. And that's kind of part of the other thing that just comes up there, because you have to remember, Channel Awesome is technically a monolith. It technically is a monolith, so they still do use the same tactics.
And also, I mean, for fuck's sake, I mean, he doesn't even own the character Nostalgia Critic. Mike Bataille owns it. And also, this is one of the reasons why I gave up on pursuing Mars Girl, because at least I could enjoy, like, Doug, ironically. Shout out to my fellow Dougists. Oh yeah, Dougism in the house. But, compare that to everyone else. Mars Girl had to fucking finance her wedding through crowdfunding. If you want, she is so strapped for cash and have blocked so many people. She basically has her pinned tweet saying, "If you want me to unblock you, pay me money." I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking, but hey. So like, compare that to Doug, who Doug's just like enjoying. Why does it look like Vegas? And I'm just sitting here, hey man, you're embracing the cringe. You're embracing the Oni thing. He's like, I'm just gonna run with it. And I'm just sitting here like, well, compare that to everyone else who left. They're all just bitter has-beens I think Liz said it best. She says, everyone has a half a decade of fame on the internet, has 5 years of fame, and then you fall off. And these people have been basically essentially crawling for relevance for literal years. Look how much weight Joe put on. Trump weight. He's a fat fucker now.
That's mostly what happens when your life is having to sit in front of the chair. And his problem is he likes to play stupid fucking war games.
And get upset about Trump and to scream and get angry. I mean, I'm just saying, I found it so, I will say, Razor Fist has some of the best backhanded drive-by insults I've ever seen in videos. Call me skeptic all you want. I don't mind as long as I don't have to grow love handles or bang a Bernie broad in a fucking wig. An unfunny Bernie broad, as I said. I love it when he brings that stuff up just randomly. It's so unexpected, but so satisfying.
It's the kind of thing that you have to reference, because we all understand and we all know that one guy who's like that, but until you actually have the ability to connect to that thing, you just don't know, It's like this one sentence is enough to cause somebody either psychic damage or healing psychotropic emotions for like a day or a week. And they will just constantly repeat that shit on a cycle over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Right,
And
right.
a lot of it is necessary in a way that it requires people to know internet lore. Because if you don't know the backstory of YouTube, then you're not going to understand how YouTube is dog shit. You can't just start.
That's true.
You can't just start using YouTube and be like, I don't understand why you guys would complain. Like, all this is super good.
Dude, get a real job. As you know.
As more of the old internet it becomes sanitized as they try to build the new internet over it. A lot of the people that are from the old internet just started making new spaces in the places that was alternative, that to the point that it's now just become the new technology. And it's competing against what authoritarians want to do, which is just silence dissent in all ways possible. But they're so inefficient at their authoritarianship that realistically you just have to pop up like fucking cockroaches. And whenever people do pop up like that, people immediately flock to them. But it's also kind of the problem with people like Medicare, right? Because Medicare, Ethan Ralph, a bunch of these internet celebrities and dramas from places like the Kumite and from the fucking Killstream and other places like this, places where cringe and lolcowdom happens, especially with internet blood sports. A lot of the old YouTube crowd that was involved in this kind of circle, specific individuals, and you'll know exactly who they are, especially Ethan Ralph. These individuals are some of the individuals that make up the basis of what would start the current point where we're at right now, right? So take 2014 and the supposed skeptosphere. Right now, we're now at the position where people who would have railed against a thing that is currently happening are very much corpo pigs for it. Which I guess you could say builds into the 5-year cycle of them being relevant and then socially climbing for the relevance. But then look at all the people who've been longevitous with their careers and how continuous that is, even if they live in fucking infamy. In the case of Ethan Ralph, and in the case of people like Jim, his problem is the fact that the content that he wants to do and make, you can't make on YouTube. You can't make it on YouTube.
Television.
Yeah, you can't put it on YouTube, and you technically can't put it anywhere on the internet because the absolute reputation that it comes with is toxic to the point of killing the messenger. It's the same problem with Kiwi Farms, as it's slowly lost its relevance. That's why I stopped going there. That's why I stopped using it. Not only was it a similar waste of Twitter on my life, to the fact that I only used it as a source, but then when I actually started doing it in my own way, I no longer needed to use them as a source, because, like, bitch, I learned this shit before you do. It became a point that it's a constant driving, like, cycle. So it works as a resource where it's like, you want to learn something in text format that could be put in a video format, here you go. But then at the same time, if you try to use that resource, it just simply corrupts the way that you look at situations, relationships in your life.
It almost gets like, there's so many things that all happen there, and how they report things. It's almost like it sets you this bias of like, oh, who else is gonna be unclean? But that perpetuates people looking for that for everyone else.
Yeah, and that's what ended up causing the problem with Christian, specifically with Joshua Moon, keeping him relevant. Her, him, it, they, the fucker, relevant the way that they did. Same thing with Ethan Ralph, and the same thing, unfortunately, with Mr. Medicare. Because a lot of people forget the fucking Sweetie Swad. A lot of people forget that they're wrathful people. They forget that these guys, unironically, paint soy jacks out of people for fun. And I say these guys, not the website. Because the behavior is the problem. It's the mentality, and the mentality is everywhere. You see it with social justice warriors, because it's their dogma. You see it with Kiwi Farms users of the modern day today, because it's not about, laughing at lolcows. It's actually about making lolcows out of everyone you don't like.
Tearing people down to make you feel better, and then that creates more people that want to tear others down to make it's a cycle. That's why I've tried scaling back my time on Twitter. Why I've tried to focus on myself and my art. And I'll be honest, guys. Can I just take a moment, Carl? Because this is something that there was. I wanted to not call this out, but I wanted to at least note this, because it was something that really hit me in a good place today. I mentioned that meme earlier today. Okay, the one that I made that was a picture of Uzaki-chan, and it was showing how a lot of people, all you need to do is look at their history, and all of a sudden projection. And someone replied to me and basically said something to the effect of, "See, this is why I follow you." My friends ask me, because we're polar opposites when it comes to politics, and my friends ask me why I follow you, and I say, for memes like this. And I'm just like, I kind of was taken aback for a sec because I'm really trying to scale back my ramblings because I was becoming, to a certain extent, what I hated, and I needed to scale that back. And I want to, because honestly, I'll be honest, guys, you all kind of keep me together. You make the art. I mean, I make my art for myself, for my own sake, and if people like that, that's cool. But I'm be honest, you guys are awesome, and you guys keep me honest, and you guys are some of the best things that's happened to me. I feel I have. I know it's so sentimental, but I've grown so much from where I was like 2-3 years ago, and I'm so happy about that, and I want to thank you all for that because honestly, I like 4 fucking years ago, I was sitting in my doctor's office like fucking paranoid, having a mental breakdown at my day job. Now, night and day, and people like you, Carl, people like the people I've met through social media. It's I wouldn't trade it for the world, but also I need to not let myself fall into the spoony abyss, you know, because or Linkara abyss. I feel like if any I think like Lewis Link, both their problems are have a kind of central theme to them. They cannot. They've hit this point where they hate themselves or they hate certain aspects of their life. They've gotten into this where like Linkara is an easy book. He has to keep making this show. That's all. Like I said, he wants to run it into the ground, but it's kind of become like a monkey's paw. Spoony, he was making $5,000. He probably doesn't make anything now, hopefully. But like both those times they hit the same problem with OnlyFans. Like if you quit your job to do this thing in this literal pyramid scheme, you end up like it's almost like like with Nanners, it was like a self-perpetuating thing, and you're just like you're kind of caught and emotionally compromised or compromised, you know, where you feel stuck. And Linkara, for him, it's that like he has to keep making this. Like this is something I predicted years ago. I mean, both of them, the Patreon was the issue. Spoony more directly, but Linkara, he started doing so many Patreon reviews that like that's when I realized, like it was when I realized how many Patreon reviews he was doing and how he kept hitting the same, like beating the same horses. Like I honestly at one point thought I should crowdfund him to read something that'll essentially like force him into something, like, you know, force him to read like Wonder Woman Earth 1 or something so like where it's almost like Catch-22. I think it was called the idea I had was the Make Linkara Eat Crow Fund, but I just decided against it because it would give him what he wants. Same with like Mars Girl. Either context, apathy is how you defeat them. I think Linkara, you could argue what you could do is basically cause him self-destruct because his fucking Discord has become more censorious and Gestapo-ish than fucking China has at this point. I would argue.
You'll be sad to know that Antweiler is still making $289 on Patreon.
Well, it could be worse. It could be over 1,000. I was guessing it was in the range of over 100 and under 500. So, or even under 300. So I was pretty close. That was right on point. Awesome.
Well, no,
it's.
I want to keep building on that thread about the attitude and perceptions thing, though.
Yes, please.
Because this is also the same attitude that comes with streaming. Because and I'm not talking about my streaming. I'm talking about streaming in general. There's way too many individuals in the industry, and not enough of them are able to diversify themselves from one another because of the fact that they're oversaturated by people like Caitlin, right?
Carl, are you gonna pull out the notepad?
No, I don't need to pull out the notepad.
You know what I was referencing. Cool.
Yeah, I know, but it's like
you're coming off like Devin Nash there for a sec. I watch him too. I like his stuff. Continue. Sorry.
See, there's times when I sit down and I will watch what he's saying because I see it when I'm looking up and doing my own research. But the problem that I have when he says these things is that he'll be like, "Oh no, these are top creators that are just doing the shit," and they're grinding out. And it's like, Devin, the website is at its all-time low. There's a cost that comes with having Caitlin in our fucking bras and panties and saying this is empowering, this is what people need to do.
In a horse mask, no less.
There's a cost that comes with that. And the cost that comes with that is that Twitch is ass. Which is why I've started to put the shit on YouTube as well. It's also why I'm doing, in recording when I get home from work, I'll just sit down and I'll record card games. Or I'll do what I did yesterday, which is play 20 hours of League. Yes, on motorcycles.
Card games on. Sorry.
And I'll play these hours of game, and it's like, I have to do other shit, because if I don't, then I'll get stuck in and laser focused on that problem. But when I talk to other people about that in life, I actually ask them, would you be able to do it? And I realize that a lot of people's answers have just been like no, but they're different variations of no. And there's like 3 different kinds of no. The first no is like, no, I could never do it. Like me, I'm not interesting. And it's like, but do you see your personality? Like, you're fuckable, and also you're cute. And I don't even mean like sexually. It's like when you hear a person talk and it's like, oh my fucking god. Say it again. Say it again. My god, say it again. Say it again. Say it slower.
Squid.
But then
Squid and Amy.
But then they'll be like, no, I could never want to do that because my friends are streamers and I don't want to take over their time. And that's how Piper is with her stream. She feels really bad whenever she streams at the same time another person's streaming.
Yes, she's awesome though. Love her.
It's the same thing with Lenore too, because when she streams, she just does what she does when she does her art. And then I will see her occasionally, and I'm like, I wish you would be able to stream more. I wish we could be able to stream at the same time and have fun. Because that was the entire impetus behind making Multiplayer Hump Day. That's an entire rant and a half on its own. Because so far, it's been 3 out of 3, and people would rather see me suffer than fucking play video games.
I mean, Carl, you are a performer, and you can easily, like... Oh, God. That you just reminded me. This kind of reminds me of when my friend and me wanted to do a Let's Play series, but it didn't work out.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, like... Mr. Moody, if you want to look up, I'll link it at some point, the old Let's Plays. They're still funny.
Mm-hmm.
He is a amazing improv comedian, my friend. But he is the most, like, he is the embodiment of the ace mindset, I guess. He is the most introverted man I know. I am like the only friend he has, but he is one of the funniest people if you get him talking. Like, oh my god, there was a moment I animated of like our playthrough of Portal 2. It was like he basically said to me, okay, when I laugh, you laugh too, okay? Just go with me on this. And so he started the recording, and he's like, and this is like us as the 2 robots like coming back, and we're supposed to like do the laugh emoji when he laughs. He says, so he turns around and he sees the forklift, and then that was the last thing he ever saw. And I laughed alongside. He's like, anyway, I'm not allowed to the reunions anymore.
Mm.
And I'm just like, there was another really funny part where like literally he starts, but people are like that. Exactly. You're like, there are people out there who are just like, he would be amazing if like when we bounce off each other, I'm usually the straight guy, and he's like the one that's just like always messing with me, kind of like when I'm with you here. But he does it better than me. He does it so much better than me because his wit is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
That said,
there's the last kind of no that I end up getting is, well, the first no is no, I couldn't. I could never. I don't think I'm funny enough when they are. And then there's the no, I couldn't do that. I kind of do it on the side for fun, but my friends do it too, and I'm not that passionate. And then the last kind of no is the no, I just don't like those kinds of people, which is inevitable. Because this is what happens when a ninja becomes a household name, and at the same time you have a man trying to get New York to do the fucking floss. You have this man screaming, what do you say to me, you little shit?
I love that clip. And so damn much.
When it comes to the industry as a whole, the problem is that when you have all of these personalities, because this is the problem with just YouTube in general when it comes to people knowing things. Not individual small people, but like known names that are household. Like Chris Raygun. When you start off with a person like Chris, or you start off with a person like Shu, and you actually map their career, You can
Oh
see
God,
the trajectory.
The trajectory is
Yes,
amazing.
you can
It
see
is
the trajectory of how they go from, oh yes, this is a person I would like to listen to the what the fuck? And it's always a rapid, gradual change that happens in between 2 to 3 years.
Yes, that's a very good way of putting it. I mean, I was just talking to Jay about this the other night. I said there was this picture I saw recently that was that was like an artist rendition of the political landscape as it was when Chris started dating whatever her name
Lacey Green.
yeah, and I found it so amusing that on the side of the right, sitting amongst them was good old Boulder Boy, and I'm like, oh, and obviously, what's her name? She won head too. So I'm like, oh man, that aged about as well as week old sushi. But exactly, it speaks to it speaks to what we're talking about here. Exactly.
Because a lot of the times when I'm at work, especially when I have the ability to, because they had a clip channel, which is half of this, one of the reasons I ended up hiring your editors, because they're gonna upload clips from things too. I have to talk to the one about it because I think the other one has already done it. One has put up a compilation from the cringe videos. That one's up on the single player Carl live channel, so you can see that if you're interested in it. But it is one of the things that happens with like Sitch and Adam talking to so many individuals and figures, because a lot of our mutuals are people who will then go on to EFAP style shows. So for Sitch and Adam, they'll do like 10 to 12 hour live streams talking about politics and breaking it down politically. The same way that on EFAP, they'll talk about things for hours and on end on a topic and a subject. And then like the last like 5 hours is just super chats and talking to chat and bullshitting. It's also another like on a tangent there. Long Man Bad is such a fucking bad cope to excuse yourself from learning about people. It's such a fucking excuse that gets used way too fucking often, but then becomes the reason why someone will be like, oh no, I don't want to listen to them explain this topic that I have, but hey bro, I want to watch this video of somebody playing Minecraft. It doesn't really matter what it is. Minecraft is just a filler. Think of whatever stupid, obnoxious thing a person who's really, really into politics would want to see, and then compare that to that. It is so fucking bizarre to see people be like, no, I do not want to listen to these guys laugh about comics. But you know what I do want to listen to? A stream of Sasan Piker stealing work from somebody. Could be me. But one of the things that's necessary to like look at this when you actually break it down as a whole and you listen to Sitch and Adam talk to these guys, especially when you had him talk to Shoe on Head recently, along with people like Dev and people like Sargon, them debating between themselves and each other about concepts and trying to understand shit.
I love
they really haven't changed that much from what was there before.
Yeah.
But you know that there's like actual dialogue happening, which is relevant because of the whole fucking Sean tweet fucking mauling out of his head about people being nice and courteous when it comes to actual debates. But then when you actually listen to Shoe on Head actually say shit that she says, I think the embodiment of I'm pro good things, anti bad things is the best way to describe a person who fence sits into the position of, well, I'm just on board for this because this is what gets me the thing I want faster. And unfortunately, in Joan's case, the thing she wants faster is dick. And it's sad to say that.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I literally turned to my coworker last year. I was like, you know what, AJ, your year may have been going terribly, but it's not going as terribly as Shoe on Head. And I basically described the whole situation, and he realized how bad. I'm like, see, your life isn't as bad, isn't it?
I mean, when it's like shit like that, like I've mentioned already, and I've talked about it before, because it's one of the pieces of the coral where people are like, you guys, you want to learn about origins, but it's like, no. When I was fucking down on my luck out of high school with nothing to fucking do, a woman from the East Egg old side of my fucking city here in Columbus came to me at one of my jobs where I was working in a fucking Bojangles that I helped open, and was impressed with my talent and skill and ability to listen. And then she realized, oh wait, you also work at another job here. Because she would come buy chicken from us in the evening when I was done with my classes, and in the morning before my classes, I would work at a Smoothie King that was pretty much a hole in a wall next to a fucking gas station. No, in between a gas station and 2 repair places on either side of us. And she would come in, and her friends would be like, man, that young boy is just down on his luck taking care of his family. And her entire family's like, nah, we're going to lift him out of poverty by giving him the chance to use his talents. So when this old-ass woman with this crotchety fucking Joan Rivers voice says to me, I'm gonna make you a jello boy, and gives me the opportunity to make money, I'm not looking at that as I'm just gonna have to hold this up. It's like, it's there. Why would I lie about this? That's such an extravagant lie to tell that it wouldn't even make sense to fucking fabricate it. Because if you look at me now, and you look at my body, it's like, but women would like something big, and I'm like, bro, dad bods.
Dad bods are a thing, yes.
But then even past that, you look at people who do this shit.
I'm a tall motherfucker, yeah.
Like, you look at people who do this shit on a regular basis, where their entire career is on the internet, and it's pretty much the mirror of that. And with this in relation to people like, say, Aiden Paladin and June.
Oh, she's adorable.
Night and day difference, right? Yes, yeah. Aiden Paladin posted titties on 4chan. Whatever. Yeah. Can you imagine being a person who, for political reasons, you switched from one team to the other very visibly, and you were so fucking braggadocious with your relationship to a dude who you had a DL... I'm trying to remember the fucking word. The DLGG.
Are you winning, son?
Yeah, like the DLGG thing.
Copy pasta. That copy pasta was fucking legendary. I still love it.
I had to think about the acronym for a second. I fucking lost my train of thought. But the fucking dirty daddy little girl situation, or is it dominant daddy little girl situation? DDGL.
I worship his cock. Yeah.
Like going from that and having a very public, open situation where you're both making content together, and you're acting as though you're very chill, and then when that breakup,
when her age starts with 3, breaks up with her on her 29th birthday. Mm-hmm. That was one of the worst age thing. Oh, it was gloriously bitter but funny.
Mm-hmm. Like the moment where that happens, because it's not Kiwi Sunset's fault that she just does what she does. Like that's not shade to her or her. But I am gonna throw shade on fucking June right now because it's retarded the way that she behaves, and that nobody fucking calls her on this shit because you really just should.
But she blocks me. I remember, Carl. I remember back when people were like, "Wait, she blocked you?" And now it's like everyone's blocked. I find that really funny. Anyway,
you can't go outside. The sun burns. But I can't imagine. This would be just as bad as you're a dude as you're a guy, so I guess this also goes bad for Greg, but does it really matter? He's a himbo. He'll get pussy. That's not a problem.
Oh, he will, yeah.
I can't,
someone looks just like June, but younger. Trading in for the younger model.
I can't imagine what must go through the head of a creator that starts out by basically being this kind of... Well, actually, no, I can, because that's Zombie Unicorn. But I can't imagine how a younger woman of another generation in the future, you know... Okay. Like a Zoomer. I can't imagine them looking at the life cycle and work order of somebody like Shu and saying, yes, that's what I want to do. I want to have principles that are based entirely in the guy that I'm fucking and the people who I'm trying to grift off of. And
it's so blatant that they...
Yes. Yeah. And then in the future, I'm going to switch teams and I'm going to say, oh no, I understand that we should do things because it's horrible. Because see, when I look at June, I look at my own sister is the problem. Because my sister has the same fucking attitude.
Oh God! Now you're don't remind me. You're making me think of
people keep forgetting that when I said my family's hyper left, I wasn't fucking joking.
No. I'm talking about. No, never mind. Shut your mind. You thinking of someone and thinking of your sister is like me thinking about fucking Smug and thinking of my sister. Anyway, continue.
I mean, shit. These kids that she has to teach look at my sister and think of something else. My family is blessed. But anyways,
I sense sarcasm in that.
No, I don't gotta be sarcastic about titties.
Oh, in that regard, okay.
Yes, but anyways,
they're being like
when I look at June and I look at women like that, I really just look at my sister. Although my sister's not that sexual, I cannot imagine having a career where my job is literally I fucked a dude and then he and I both made clout on ourselves and our personality, and then people realized my personality is shit. Imagine how many videos of content she's taken directly from Twitter or from people like myself and Poe, especially with the fucking rapist female predator thread that she took from Poe from his older account. And she uses that to build her brand to say, "Oh my god, I'm just anti these things, bro." And where's the one I just had in front of me?
Anti-nice thing. Look at my boyfriend.
Where's the one I just had? Because I just had one of these examples on my screen. Here it is from YouTubers bitching about politics. which I guess I'm going on there now. But from here, it's like, bro, I cannot imagine being a person who was going to smug to someone else about sex, suddenly having to be like, well, you see, I can't have opinions about people because then people will bully me about it because they don't want me to know that I'm horny, teehee. And it's like, woman, I saw you and like Ashby Coffin specifically address how you wanted to be fucking skewered and Eiffel Towered by Republican dudes. That's one cope level already. But then another one,
Damn.
to then see them go on to a podcast where they will then try to talk about these things where they have no fucking understanding of the policies that they're advocating for. Yep. It's like a very hot package of stupid wrapped up in a tiny fucking bow with a choker.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's honestly like, it's always funny because it's like these are the people I actually no. There's an animation I saw. You know of Sir Pillow. He has a girlfriend. Okay.
Yes.
I think her name's on Twitter, on YouTube. It's like Secret Narcissist or something. Closet Narcissist. And she made this video and it was like, oh, I'm not base like those other girls. I'm special. I'm different. And you're like, so you're basic. And I'm just sitting here like, that is so fucking funny. That is wow.
Yeah. And it kind of worries me a little bit sometimes. The majority of individual users who have this level of audience members that just either are willing to go along with it or that fucking retarded.
It's probably she has an army of Sims.
Probably.
No, she does. Like I called it the eunuch army. It's an army of it's like and to be fair, like 2017, I was in such a defense army, but in a situation I was with what's her name, Octavia's kitten. That was after I grew a spine in regards to that.
That's her name?
No, who?
Octavia's kitten is her name?
No, that's her YouTube channel.
Okay.
Alias. But she was like a video game person, but she had a really, really good British accent. Okay? And she was very risque in how she did things. But like you could tell like from her journals and stuff on Twitter, like she had a lot of like self-confidence issues. A lot of like all she knew how to express herself is in that regard. And I guess I'm happy I kind of grew out of it, you know. Grew up there and realized like it was very personal. So on my end, like I was like, point being is like it's very similar in that it's a pattern. They're like she had some really shit situations, obviously, and it's like all she knew how to express herself was in this certain way, and it's product of the time, product of the situation. I don't know, like it's just sad.
I feel like it's a product of the culture.
Yeah, it all is. And then
like not just the personal culture, but just the growing culture.
Yeah,
because with more and more people being on the internet in general, and the entirety of this digital library of Alexandria that goes from 50 billion different topics and subjects you want, becoming these isolated 20 topics that all interconnect with each other. Yeah. Because unfortunately, people like June are the ones that are making everything the same. Because the personal is political, thus everything has a diatribe that must require everybody to be political all the time.
And everything's political, nothing will be.
See, I find it just cute because y'all motherfuckers really think y'all activating somebody's class consciousness, huh? Keep it up. You gonna find yourself activated against the wall.
Yeah, well, don't tell them that. Well, actually, no, tell them that. They won't listen.
I mean, it's bad because that's like... Well, it's not like. It is. It is totalitarian.
Yeah.
The correct opinion, the correct behavior. The only thing that should ever have the correct opinion described to it is when you're trying to make a play in a video game and you can analyze the situation.
Yes.
You can't analyze people's lives down to a single solitary factor and point.
But don't tell them that. You know, they want to feel like they're actually in control. That's all it is. Like people like
the corpos. There are corpos.
Fair enough.
And they were corpos. Like, that's the part that's important. They were corpos the entire time.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I bring it up. They were corpos the entire time. I mean, there's the thing that's happening like a couple hours ago, I guess. Vosh is done grifting for the left, so now he's gonna pretend to be politically homeless, I guess. Because he's tired of having to listen to the fucking glowies in his audience. The glowies that he put there.
Carl, or he's jealous about how Hassan's where he is now. I mean, I wouldn't rule that out as a possibility, a factor in all this.
Well, come on. Ian Cocklicker can only get people giving him information in his ear. Well, Hassan Piker has an entire fucking uncle that made his fucking career possible.
Well, yeah. My point though is, I'm sure this politically homeless thing is partially because of where Hassan is now.
Do you think that it's possible that Hassan possibly bought a bailout mansion specifically so he could be closer to Ethan Klein?
I would not rule that out in the slightest. I mean, think about it. When did the buy happen in regards to Ethan losing a host?
I mean, it can be completely unrelated, and I just find it interesting. Because the idea to put all of the cringe YouTubers into a single fucking area code in San Francisco is a wonderful idea to me. Because now you can know exactly where all the cringe lives.
Well, okay, now what I was going to say. Because you said the whole thing about corpos, okay? Well, yesterday I was like, this was something I literally contacted a friend of mine who's another animator, and I asked him, like, am I out of line here? Am I going too far? Because I was genuinely trying to scale things back, basically. Like, that's what I've been trying to do is like, you know, not be stalking shit on Twitter. So my method has been to basically, okay, I'm going to be sensible. I'm going to be good faith, and I'm not going to, like, kick the door in and say, you know, on guard, motherfucker. So there was a situation where this animator, and they were like saying, like, it was Squid was mentioning how, like, one thing she mentions a lot, which is like, why is everyone who's making animations out in California, why aren't they doing remote stuff? Like, it would make sense. And this person's like, union, blah blah blah. And this is someone living out in San Francisco who works for Netflix and works for Disney and all this other stuff. And at one point, like, they mentioned, like, unions, and eventually they said something along the lines of, like, capitalism's, like, you know, in a capitalist system, this, and you need to have union for this. And I'm like thinking to myself, okay, this is someone who honestly thinks that she, like, and I basically, in respectful way as I could, I said, okay, what do you think's going to happen? You brought up the capitalist thing, and I find that a little bit laughable here, because when a hypothetical post-capitalist system happens, you're gonna be out of a job. Basically, what I said in a respectful way. She basically was like, no. She basically says, like, but capitalism is all. Okay. I'm like, okay. Your job. Let me ask you this then. And this is like, I think what got her to block me. I said, your job right now, you're working for this company. My job is who will have more job security in this hypothetical? Me, who is working at a government contracting job at a high school being maintenance, like being a janitor for a contractor for the local public high school, or you, an animator for entertainment at two separate multinational corporations, highly capitalistic multinational corporations, where you're living in California. And she blocked me eventually, but it was like, my whole thing was like, you guys are like thinking, and then also she says, like, the housing market is terrible, it's on fire. I'm like, yeah, in California. And you're acting like, she was like saying, oh, you're so naive and not knowing how, like, it's naive for you to think that this. I'm like, okay, you think that like, right now in my rural area, yeah, it's a seller's market. Okay, I'll agree to that. But it's a lot cheaper out here, and it's not to assume everywhere else is just as on fire as it is in California is also naive. And she's like, well, it's going to spread everywhere else. I'm like,
no, it's going to spread everywhere else because leftists are fleeing it and trying to spread it everywhere fucking else.
Yes. But my point, though, like, I was like, I found it amusing that she was all saying capitalism is the issue, when in a hypothetical situation where she gets what she wants, she's going to be out of a job. Because she's working for literally the people that it's like, if you believe that, you should be working for them. Now, should you? You should be doing what I'm doing. Mind you, I'm in poverty, but it's different. I'm in a relatively calm and peaceful mindset compared to, it's like, but yeah, it's exactly like they're thinking, like, all these people are out here in this fucking circle jerk, Like, she even admitted, I'm like, because the first thing I talked to her about was like, as far as I know, none of you people out there doing all this stuff, it's all it is either you're planning something out or it's a giant circle jerk. You already ship out the actual animation to Korea. And she's like, yeah, but I'm like, but if we did remote stuff, they would cut our things entirely. I'm like, okay, but you just admitted that you're an animation industry that doesn't actually fucking animate.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really think you're gonna like in your best hypothetical, you wanted socialism where you're not gonna have that job anymore? But in the best case, in the other end of the spectrum, when they find an opportunity to get rid of you and outsource you, they're gonna do that. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's where they're gonna head. And the industry, streaming has changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Case, long story short.
Anybody can be able to get a concept fucking greenlit as it was already, but she'll be fine. Get her Noelle Stevenson's fucking contact information. She'll be able to fucking animate another lesbian touching scene.
No, Noelle Stevenson lost her. No, that's the best part about it.
That's the joke. That's the joke. That's the joke.
Carl.
Yes.
Carl. She had an animation gig at Fox. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you did know that, and you know that it was past tense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, making sure, because that's what I always found funny. It's like she did all that work, fucking nothing. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it.
But she'll always have feminist cat raw until it gets erased by the real canon. That was such a fucking stupid tweet.
But don't you know, Carl? They're bigots because it's not for them. If they think that's for them, they're not. They just don't have something to jack off to or flick the bean to, I guess, in this context.
You know, it's always weird when they say that. It's like, it's not for you. I'm like, bitch, I like every single male and female body on this planet. There is not a thing that's not for me. Just do what you're doing. I'll watch. I'll get popcorn. In fact, you want 50% rights on the fucking streaming service for this? Because this is going on the internet. It's like, that's so fucking stupid. But on that note,
are you bi or are you pan? Because if you're pan, you must really love doing the dishes then, don't you?
Yes.
You
don't. You see, you're joking, but you do not realize the joy I feel washing dishes. To see a clean kitchen that I cleaned and it stays clean.
Oh yeah. I've been discovering that, and I've been like, why have I? Wait, cleaning stuff makes you feel better? Why haven't I done this before? My parents should have told me or something. My parents are just like good at baseball right there. They're like, we're just happy you did it, man. We're just happy you figured it out. In the back of my
when I come in from my job, there's no time when I want to sit down and be like, oh my fucking god, this shit's still fucking dirty. I actually sit down the time, I clean it, then I come back home, and it's not magically dirty again. It stays clean. Oh, it's such a fucking relief.
You think that's great, living on your own and me being a pigsty for most of my life, and then realizing if I clean it up, I'll feel great. Holy shit, I gotta do this more.
Mm-hmm. You'll be able to bring men and women back from the bar and show them your pet snake.
You mean my no step on snake flag?
Yes, that's clearly what I meant. And on that point, we gotta go, folks.
Talk to you later, Carl. Say good night, you mister. Good night, Carl.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Chief. Good night, Cloud.
We're going to attempt to see you this same bat time on this same bat channel. And by this same bat time, I mean on Thursdays. New day for the podcast, specifically Thursdays. It's the middle of the week for me. It works out. And if people in the audience have shit they want to send to us, please send sources and links to my DMs and to Charza's DMs. And when you do so, please send archives. Not just the tweets. Send archives. Send archives of stories. Send archives of articles. We will read them out on the stream. And we will be able to source them to whoever shot them to them. You get a shout out on the stream, and we'll be able to talk about the shit. Now,
we like talking about shit, man.
We will see you again in the future, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen.
Same Carl time, same Carl channel.
So, we must leave, everyone. We are sorry. We must go. It has been great. We hope that y'all continue to remain great. Have
been a doll.
Have a good week wherever you are, and we will see you next time. Good night, everybody.